We asked Earth for supplies. They sent medicine, engineers, and a fleet. The colony of Kalas had never felt more isolated, orbiting a star on the edge of the Perseus arm. It was a speck of humanity's ambition scattered across the galaxy. The settlers had brought soil processors, water recyclers, and seeds from Earth, convinced they could carve a future out of crimson rock and thin air. For decades, they had survived by grit and ingenuity. But survival wasn't thriving. By the time the request was sent, Kalas was a wounded world. A fungal plague had crept into the colony's grain silos, infecting half their food supply. Mining accidents were on the rise as equipment corroded in the local atmosphere. Worse, the ore-rich crust of Kalas had drawn the attention of raiders, mercenary fleets that prowled the fringe, looking for easy prey. Governor Mira Eshan had drafted the message herself. Her voice, usually iron-steady, cracked as she recorded the plea. To Earth Command, United Terran Alliance, we ask for medical aid. Supplies, if possible. Engineers, if possible. We cannot hold Kalas without them. It was a transmission she sent into the void with no expectation of return. Earth was 100 light-years away. Even with quantum relays, replies often came late, fragmented, or not at all. Kalas had learned to fend for itself. But 3 months later, the answer arrived. And it was not what anyone expected. Arrival. The morning sky tore open with fire. Kalas had no defense network sophisticated enough to track incoming fleets. So when the first warp signatures rippled across the horizon, panic spread to the colony like wildfire. Sirens wailed. Miners dropped their tools. Children were herded underground as the crimson heavens bled streaks of silver and blue. Raiders, someone shouted in the streets. Governor Eshan climbed the steps of the council spire and gripped the balcony rails, her heart hammering. But as the ships emerged, her fear gave way to awe. These were no jagged raider craft, nor pirate frigates scavenged from forgotten wars. These ships gleamed, sleek hulls etched with the blue and white insignia of the United Terran Alliance. Their engines whispered of power generations beyond Kalas' outdated reactors. And there weren't just a handful. There was a fleet. A dreadnought large enough to eclipse the sun's light led the way, flanked by cruisers, carriers, and hospital barges. Shuttles detached before the main formation had even stabilized orbit, cutting down toward the colony with perfect precision. On their hulls, Kalas read a single word stamped in bold letters. Earth. The unexpected gift. Governor Eshan stood at the landing field as the first shuttle touched down. Dust rose in plumes, scattering across the cracked concrete. The ramp descended, and figures emerged, human, but clad in exo-armor so advanced it hummed with energy. Their commander removed her helmet, revealing sharp features and close-cropped black hair. She extended a hand. Commander Alara Quinn, Earth Fleet. By order of the Alliance Council, we bring aid to Kalas colony. Eshan blinked, caught between relief and disbelief. We only ask for supplies. A few crates of medicine. Engineers, if possible. Quinn smiled faintly, though her eyes carried weight. Earth does not send half measures. Your distress call was clear. You are in danger. So we bring medicine, engineers, and protection. Behind her, more shuttles opened their ramps. Doctors wheeled out sterilization pods and medical drones. Engineers in bright orange suits hauled modular forges and atmospheric stabilizers. Soldiers fanned out, scanning rooftops and perimeters. It was overwhelming. The colony that had scraped by with scavenged parts and jury-rig systems now watched as Earth's finest unloaded entire mobile hospitals, seed vaults, and reactor cores. Children peered wide-eyed at medics, handing out nutrient packs. Farmers wept as they were given sterile samples of uninfected grain. But beneath the awe, unease stirred. Why would Earth commit such resources to a forgotten outpost? Shadows on the horizon. Within days, Kalas transformed. The fungal plague was eradicated with gene-coded counteragents. Engineers restored the mining rigs and sealed the atmosphere leaks in their habdomes. New schools and labs were erected with printed materials from orbit. Yet Governor Eshan couldn't ignore the other part of Earth's gift. The fleet. Warships patrolled the system's edge, their cannons bristling. Drones swept asteroid fields for hidden threats. Earth soldiers trained with colonists in military drills, teaching them to fire weapons they had never dreamed of touching. At first, Kalas celebrated. But as days passed, whispers grew. Why so many warships? Why weapons for miners? What danger did Earth see that we did not? Governor Eshan demanded answers. She found them in Commander Quinn's quarters aboard the dreadnought Atlas. The walls hummed with quiet power, lined with star maps that pulsed with glowing red zones. You weren't entirely wrong, Quinn admitted, her voice low. Your call for help reached Earth. But it wasn't just the Council that heard it. Raiders have been intercepting communications. They knew Kayla's was weak, and Earth's intelligence reports that a coalition of raider clans is formed, larger than any we've seen in decades. Kayla's is their next target. Eshan's throat tightened. So the medicine, the engineers, all of it, necessary. Quinn said firmly, a colony cannot fight without food. A colony cannot hold without infrastructure. You ask for survival. Earth intends for you to endure. But understand this, Governor. Kayla's is no longer just a colony. It is now the line between chaos and order in this sector. That is why we brought a fleet. The first clash. The raiders came at dawn 2 weeks later. A swarm of jagged ships erupted from the asteroid belt, dark sails unfurling like wings. They moved with savage speed, spitting missiles toward the surface. Kayla's had no planetary shields, but the Earth fleet did. Blue light blossomed across the sky as the Atlas raised its barrier, intercepting the barrage. Earth fighters roared from hangars, engaging the raiders in fiery arcs. Colonists huddled in bunkers as the heavens thundered. Explosions painted the horizon. For the first time in its history, Kayla's was defended not by desperation, but by strength. Governor Eshan, standing in the command bunker, watched as Earth soldiers fought alongside miners armed with pulse rifles. Her people weren't bystanders anymore. They were participants in their own defense. By nightfall, the raiders retreated, their ships limping into the void. Kayla's had held, but the cause was clear. Earth's presence had drawn not just one raid, but a war. Transformation. Months passed. Kayla's changed more in that short span than in the previous century. With Earth engineers, they constructed orbital shipyards. With Earth doctors, they eradicated long-standing diseases. Children grew up watching not famine, but abundance. The colony had been lifted into a new age. And yet, Governor Eshan lay awake at night, troubled. Every gift from Earth bound them tighter. Every reactor core and weapons shipment deepened Kayla's reliance. The Council back on Earth surely knew this. Was Kayla's being saved or absorbed? Commander Quinn seemed to sense her doubts. One evening, as they walked through the newly completed academy, Quinn said quietly, "You fear Earth has come to own you. But Governor, the galaxy is shifting. The raiders are only the beginning. Entire civilizations stir on the far edges, watching humanity expand. Alone, Kayla's would have been devoured. Together, with Earth, you will be part of something greater." Eshan studied the academy's glowing halls, where children laughed, unburdened by hunger, and she wondered if safety was worth the price of independence. The siege of Kayla's. Her doubts were tested sooner than she imagined. A year after Earth's arrival, the coalition of raider clans returned. Not with dozens of ships, but hundreds. An armada blotting out the stars. This time, even the Earth fleet faltered. The battle raged for days. Kayla's new shipyards poured out hastily built fighters. Colonists manned anti-air batteries alongside Earth soldiers. The crimson sky burned with fire. In the council chambers, Eshan rallied her people. "We are no longer a forgotten outpost. We are Kaylans. This is our world. And no raider will take it from us. Not while Earth stands with us. Not while we stand with ourselves." Her words carried across the colony. Farmers picked up rifles. Children ferried supplies. Engineers turned mining lasers into weapons. When the raiders breached orbit, Kayla's itself rose to fight. And in the heart of the chaos, the Atlas unleashed its full might, its cannons tearing through the raider flagship, scattering the coalition into fractured remnants. The siege ended. Kayla survived again. But this time, it wasn't just Earth's fleet that won. It was Kayla's and Earth together. A new identity. When the smoke cleared, the Council on Earth transmitted a message of congratulations. Kayla's will be recognized not merely as a colony, but as a sector capital, a stronghold on the frontier. For Governor Eshan, the moment was bittersweet. Her people had asked for a few crates of medicine, a handful of engineers. What they received instead had reshaped their destiny. Kayla's was no longer isolated. It was no longer forgotten. It had become a fortress, a partner in a galactic alliance, a beacon of human resilience. Standing on the balcony of the Council spire, Eshan watched the repaired fleet glimmer in orbit. Children waved at the passing shuttles, no longer afraid of the sky. Farmers tilled soil enriched by earth science. Soldiers trained in fields where famine once grew. She whispered to herself, "We asked for supplies, and Earth gave us a future.